Welcome you all to the TPF Toyota Connect GrabShare event. And this event is not like normal event. We meet a lot of new people here. New connections are made, new transitions are made. We will have an insightful discussion about the products, industry standards, and how things are happening around the globe and the product space. And I once again welcome you all to the event. So housekeeping. No photographs are allowed inside the campus of the Toyota Connect. And please always have the attendees badge throughout the event. And so these are the two things majorly you need to be following over the event. And feel free to ask any questions to the speakers or people around here. Okay. So a bit about the TPF. TPF started in May 2019 as a small meetup in the Bangalore, and now we are almost running 25 events every month all over the India. And TPF covers almost everything in the product space and what the company needs. We cover from career ladders, giving insightful informations about the product space, how the product trends are changing, and how you can elevate your career among the product space. And we also we have several cohorts in which we train people, and we always help in growing the economy, and we will enable the distribution of the products and the product. So product folks doesn't have one, it's a big community in which we have several subdivisions. One of them is product house. If you are an entrepreneur or if you are a person who is very interested on the Web3 community, then product house is the community that you need to be joining. And if fintech is all about the fintech, since we see a lot of fintech companies growing across the India, like Stripe, like Paytm, other companies. So we have fintech folks, and founder folks is for the people who are like entrepreneur or who's founding company, and it's for them. And we have women in product. So these are some of the subdivisions of the product folks. And if you want to join any of these communities, just let me know. I'll help you to join. And we have a lot number of events that is happening. We have cohorts like product-led growth, Insurjo. Insurjo is more like if you are entering into a product, and if you want to learn about product management, then Insurjo is one. And we have Gen AI Rush. It's about all about Gen AI, generative AI. And we also have no code cohorts. Other than that, so if you are following TPF on the LinkedIn or Instagram, you'll always be able to see a lot of information that is coming with Learn with PM, Productpedia, and also we also release ebooks. So and then our offline event, GrabShare and Buildathon, Product Unconference, and Bits and Atoms. Bits and Atoms is an exclusive event for the senior folks. GrabShare is a generalized event for so that we bring all the product enthusiasts together under a single roof. And Buildathon and Unconference. So Buildathon is more like an hackathon, but it is more related to a product, building a product. And we have Product Unconference, which is more like a conference for product management. So we are the world's most loved community, and we have like more than, you can see the numbers, how big it is. And we are not just in India, we are also traveling across the abroad. We have events that is happening in San Francisco, New York, Berlin, Dubai, and India. So if you have your colleagues or if your friends on the other countries which is listed here, you can always refer them to follow the TPF and follow and attend the events around the globe. And what we are envisioning is we want to be the most loved and the largest product community over 2025. So that is our aim over the TPF. Okay, TPF by numbers in Chennai. So we thought we first started in 2020 after this COVID and everything started taking place offline. We started the initial stage when we started was we are around 40 members. Now we are being like 1,000 plus members and growing. So we have almost like 3,000, 5,000 registrations, and we are proud to say that we are the Chennai's most active product community. And we want to thank Toyota Connect for this event, and I would like to invite Anita to start few words about Toyota Connect and Techceleration.
Okay, thank you, Dev. So once again, a very warm welcome to everyone. And that one Saturday for many kind of and see, I'm happy to see so many people. So a few words about Toyota Connected. So Toyota Connected India leads the engineering of the connected mobility intelligence at Toyota and Lexus, and profoundly impacting millions in India and also across the globe. And so our mission is to deliver safe, convenient, and amazing user experience to our customers. And so we are a team of data engineers, product owners across Chennai and Bangalore, with expertise in say AI, ML, generative AI, ML, data, cloud intelligence, creating safe, smart, and sustainable mobility solutions. So that's a quick gist about Toyota Connected. About Techceleration, so Techceleration by Toyota Connected. So it's a meetup which we started like you. Product folks started off in 2020. We also started off in 2020. We very passionate of running these meetup events. Generally, we have tech. We try to balance between tech and product and also agile related topics. So this is a platform for like-minded people to come share their ideas. It's more in terms of learning and growth. So that's how we see it. And so I'm very happy to collaborate with the product folks team this time round. And and also looking forward to hear from both the speakers, Badri and Rita. So thank you so much. All the very best to the speakers. And once again, welcome to Toyota Connected Techceleration and the product also. I hand it over to Larry.
So let's give them a big round of applause. Going all this into it, let's play a small game. Okay. So now AI is everywhere. Right? Once we started using ChatGPT, AI comes in every product, every other product that we're using. Let's put up a common products, web products, or the apps that we are going to use. And I want to hear what is the AI feature that you are going to implement in the product. Okay. So you don't need to give a lot of explanation of how, just the idea, a two-liner that you say, okay, I want to introduce this, and this will help to solve this problem. Okay. Are you guys ready? Yeah. So let me first take my favorite product, Swiggy. What is the AI feature that you want to introduce in Swiggy?
Sorry, people joining virtual, I'm not very sorry.
Yeah. So we want to go into the first product, Swiggy. Guys, please, every day you're using this product. Okay.
I want Swiggy to see that I just said I'm being it and that's going to be biryani.
Yeah, that's a cool. Yeah. Any other products you want to go? Sorry.
We manage Swiggy for health tracking apps, give more nutritional service.
Yeah, that's good. Any other? So I would say that, yeah.
Just be loud. I think I would just like to say I want to eat only 500 calories per meal plan, just using the products and the dishes that I can have few minutes.
Yeah, that's good. I think more people are coming into diet, and yes.
I want a Swiggy to automatically find the best biryani as per my taste.
Okay, that's cool.
I think from the Instamart perspective of Swiggy, I forgot my friend's birthday. You can ensure that he is getting the gift for me before any payment.
Okay, that's good. Anything else on Swiggy? What other products do you think we can go? Maybe Google Docs, Microsoft Word. I want to summarize my entire meeting notes, which is happening in the Google Meet on the Google Docs, and tag all the people on the Google Docs so that they take the task. It's 1 each. Any other issue that you want to bring in?
So, I always think like the product management, we have these ideas. If I speak into something, if you can create rather than doing the second work, so that would be great, like with any of the documentation process.
Yeah, that's yeah.
A picture speaks more than 1,000 words. So if it can convert it to a visual sketch, that's where I see a bigger thing.
That's good. Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah. So I don't want to drag this time along. So let's go next. What's the quality? So big question. We have two speakers here, and I want to first welcome Badri. So Badri is like 15 years of experience in the product space, and I don't see you all 15 years of experience.
Let's not do that.
Yeah, so he has worked across the globe, managing teams and in the agile space. And I don't want to give a big intro, he'll give a big intro of himself, I believe. So I welcome Badri to give us a learning session on the product discovery mindset. Let's all welcome him.
Thank you. I was hoping you were really good. I think I was studying. But good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining, and I want to thank ATF and Berger because I've been married for like 10, 11 years now, and for 80 people to listen to me talk, that's a good feeling, right? And then you've been married for that long. Some rough sand here. We'll get started. I want to talk about the product discovery mindset. So if you guys have any questions along the way, feel free to stop me. Before I jump in, I started right after my engineering. I started as what was called a product analyst back then, but I was pretty much doing the product owner stuff, and I've done that for about 15 years now. A little bit of engineering. I was an engineering manager managing engineering for about 3 years in between. So that's where I come from, and I say that because some of what I'm going to say is going to be biased, so you understand where I come from, right? So you take that, that's our understanding. So first, let's define the rules. Quick quiz. Can you guys name these people? Marty Kagan. That's a part. Now I know because they are kind of this people you are testing what I'm going to talk about. I'll keep going. One thing I want to set straight is I'm not going to teach you what is in the textbooks, right? I'm not going to tell you this is the framework, that is the framework, opportunity, solution to be done on this anymore. These people that I showed you before have made much more money explaining that story. I will let you do that. What I'm going to talk about is everyday pain points that I feel I had known better. Mistakes that I have made and learned from those are things that I try to teach my team members. So first up, this is the normal development life cycle, right? You as a product team have a certain background. Where is that coming from? It's coming from the strategy vision of the company, right? And the other input to that is your user feedback, right? So how is the user getting the feedback? You're basically delivering something. You're passing your ideas to the engineering team. They build on something, and that is delivered as value, the form of value that is delivered to the users. Users use that product, give you feedback, and that's how you operate this cycle. I'm not talking waterfall, but I'm talking about I think we are at that spot. Everybody has reached that spot, right? So I'm talking only that. Now, I think things have evolved much more than that. This was 10 years ago, right? Now things have evolved a little bit more. We are talking about how do I make this better? This is your ideas backlog. What is your primary job as a product? Can somebody tell me what is your primary job as a product? As a product manager. Manage backlog, okay?
Prioritizing value delivery to the customers.
Prioritizing value delivery to customers, yes. Ownership in product.
Take responsibility for a customer.
Take responsibility for solving the customer pain point. Okay.
Identifying problems.
Identifying problems.
Determining what problems are to be solved.
Determining what problems need to be solved. Yes. So, as product managers, our job is not to solve problems. Our job is not to draw those wireframes. Right? It was our responsibility at one point. How many of you have used SEO to make diagrams? Right? It was part of our job in fact. It's not anymore. Our job is focused on identifying the right problems to solve. There are thousands of problems in the world, millions of problems in the world. In my company, aligned to my vision, with the skill sets that I have, what are the most solvable problems that will align to all of these things? Right? I might want to build a rocket that will take me to Pluto. Right? But that's not my company's mission. That's not what I'm aligned with. That's not why I'm here. Now, my job is to fill this ideas backlog with the most viable and profitable items. Right? Now, imagine you're working working at a desk. Right? You're working in a manufacturing line. So input comes from there, your output goes here. Correct? The quality of your output is determined by the quality of your workstation. Is that correct? The tools that you use, how clutter-free it is, and also the quality of your input. Apply the same thing here. How clutter-free this is, quality of your input, and the tools that you use will determine what you are feeding here. What you are feeding here is extremely expensive. The moment you feed something here, people are going to invest time and money on this. So you are technically making a decision on behalf of the company, and this is something I tell my team all the time. Would you make this decision if you ran this company out of your pocket? Right? Was this the decision that you would make? So you need to look at this workbench and keep it as clutter-free and as efficient as possible, and feed only the right things to this team. Now, if you go back to the previous slide where we saw, oh, I looked at something, I gave it to the dev team sent it to the users gave feedback about them, which is good, which is not bad at all. Now, can I make it more efficient? How do I make it more efficient? I see what are my input mechanisms and how do I make my input more cleaner, more efficient. So I go back to the main source of input, which is the users. I keep going back to them and I keep refining this process. I keep going back to them to try and refine this. Now, I do easily, okay, oh, my job is to build a car, let me build a car. Do you think I'll successfully build a car or build a car that will sell it? Probably not. I need to have clear directions from my users or from my potential customer side on what I need to build. Right? So this is the high level of what we are going to talk about in the next 20-25 minutes. Are you guys with me so far? Any questions? Awesome. So we're going to talk about this step. This is called product discovery. Right? And this is your chapter 5 and chapter 9. What is chapter 9 and chapter 11? Anybody that's prepared for board exams, they tell you, of course, there is a definite 10-mark question from chapter 5, definite 10-mark question from chapter 11. If you practice 70 to 105, you'll definitely make 70, right? Product discovery is that. You need to nail product discovery if you have any chance of shooting for excellence. I am not talking pass mark. People who are aiming for pass mark are not here in this room today. That's not why you do our course, right? We are people who are shooting for excellence. If you have to shoot for excellence, you've got to nail product discovery. Okay. Now, what is chapter 5 and chapter 11? There are two components to this. So this is chapter 5, this is chapter 11. Finding the problem worth solving and defining the solution worth building. I will explain this to you. Finding a problem worth solving. Is there something just because I know I attended a course on Coursera about artificial intelligence, I cannot randomly insert something into my product line that will irritate users, right? And defining a solution worth building is, I could think of a way to solve a problem. Me as a person in a 80-member company can think of a way to solve a problem. That is not the right way to solve the problem, right? So you need to also see what is the problem to solve, what is the right way to solve the problem. And you cannot have a muscular imbalance when it comes to the discovery muscles, right? Where you need to get is here, and I only have this slide to show off my image editing skill sets. I did this myself last week. So you need to develop equal muscle, you need to pay equal attention to both of these aspects. Okay, now we'll talk about the next 15 minutes. I'm only going to talk about these two things. Okay, so let's go there. And talking about finding a problem worth solving, you need to understand the underlying user needs you want to solve with the product. Now, one basic assumption is this. I'll read this out first. We need to constantly remind ourselves that our customers don't really care about our product or any product for that matter. Customers care about themselves and they care about figuring out how to do their things better, faster, and easier. That's all they care about. They don't care about whether you put this checkbox here, whether it's a checkbox or a radio button. They don't care. Doesn't really matter to them. How are you helping me to solve the problem? That's really their only question. That's their question all the time. Now, I will give you this story about McDonald's. So if you have read books about innovation, you probably heard this story, but we'll have to sit through this because I'm here for another 10 minutes. Now, McDonald's has milkshakes. You all know McDonald's has milkshakes? Yeah. When McDonald's introduced milkshakes, 80% of their milkshakes got sold. As in 80% of the sales happened before 8:30 a.m. Before 8:30 a.m. Okay. And most of their customers that bought their milkshakes did not buy anything else. They only bought the milkshakes. Have you heard the story? Yeah. Okay. So they have not bought anything else, just the milkshakes. Right? Now they then employ consultants to go talk to these people and ask them why they bought these milkshakes. You would not even think about this. The reason they bought these milkshakes was all of these people had a long commute to work. They needed to stay engaged in life. Remember, this is the statement they're making. They needed to stay engaged in life during their commute to work. Will McDonald's talk about engaging people in their lives? If you were a product manager for McDonald's thinking in a fancy office like this, would you ever think this is the customer problem? You would think, oh, Wendy's sold strawberry milkshakes, let's add strawberry to the lineup. Right? That's how we would think. Popeye says this. That's how we would think. But That's not the reason people bought McDonald's milkshakes. They bought milkshakes because they wanted um, to stay engaged in their commute to work. Now, what happened was they then spoke to these. So when they spoke to these people further, they found out that why are you choosing a milkshake? Why can't you just get a donut? Right? Donuts make your hands messy. When you're driving, it's not easier. It's not very convenient. So that's why they chose the milkshakes. Now, McDonald's, what they did, they went back. They didn't settle with this. Oh, okay, so our milkshakes are preferred or is equal to the settle with this. No. Remember the iterative. So if you go back to my slide, however light it is, you will see that there is an iteration curve. You have to keep going back. That's why it's called continuous product discovery. It's not like a one-time thing, right? So what McDonald's did was they went and made these milkshakes even more thicker. So an average person took about 23 minutes to finish that milkshake. Okay, what this did for McDonald's is that it improved their sales. Can you imagine 7 times? Improved their sales 7 times just by making that milkshake thicker. Now, what does this tell you? If you understand your users' needs better, you have scope. You still have the same product out there. How can you improve that product? By going and talking to the user and understanding their mindset. There's a very famous saying, nobody needs a 1/4-inch drill. If you want to drill a hole in your home, you will go to the tool shop and buy a drill bit. I don't know how many of you know this. There's a drilling machine, has something called a drill bit, which is the thing pointing out of your drilling machine. And there's a size type, a specification type. You will, the drill bit, it's called a drill bit. What you buy depends on what's the size of the hole you want to make. My requirement is the hole. My requirement is not the drill bit. The users want a 1/4-inch hole, not a 1/4-inch drill. This is the famous saying. So there's something called jobs to be done theory. I recommend all of you to go read about it. It's an excellent concept and it will change how you think about products. So going back, what the McDonald's story tells you is to understand the customer's needs. Now, okay, you have Jan, how do you do it? Right? One of the key tools that I have always found effective is doing customer interviews. Right? So I know I told you I'm not going to give you frameworks. This is all mindset. There is no one way to do a customer interview. But if you keep these things in mind when you're doing a customer interview, more or less we will capture the essence of that interview. You'll be able to tap benefits of talking to, spending time with the customer. So first up, a lot of us, like me, we love to talk, right? So when I go in front of a customer, I do the talking. When I keep doing the talking, the customer shuts down. So your job is to lead the interview and be a witness to the interview. You're talking to the customer to ask about their feelings, how they feel about your product, how they feel about their life and so on. When I say life, not the family problems, but whatever problem area you're addressing. That's one. And secondly, to observe sentiment. It's not about what they are actually saying. It's about how much pain or how much happiness is behind what we're saying. So we need to observe sentiment and understand their day in life. You having to, let's say you all have to punch in your cards when you walk into the office, right? All of us have to do it, most of us. Now the company changes policy. You should not punch in the morning, you should only punch in the afternoon. Okay, morning you can just walk in, but at 12 o'clock you all have to wait, get up from your chair, go to the front desk and punch in. Is that a good experience? It's not a good experience. You'll be in the middle of something you don't want to do. But that's their job. That's the job you're asked to do. That's the job you're paying for. So only if you understand the day in life of a customer, you will know what pain points they have. Oh, okay. So in my case, I work for a real estate company. Oh, I check if all the locks on all the doors have good enough battery life. Or I check for low battery alerts. What time of the day do you check? Do you check it right before lunch when you're hungry? Do you check it right after lunch when you're sleepy? How do you go about doing it? That determines your experience with the product and the work in general. Right? So understand the day life, ask about their pains, and discuss their hacks. Some of them have very cheeky hacks. Whatever they have as a hack is what is improving their life. If you can build that into your product, you're basically providing a solution to improving their life. So discuss their hacks, ask for suggestions. Sometimes what happens is when you ask them for suggestions, they will tell you, oh, if you add a button here on this product, it will solve all my problems. I will be, I'm very thankful to you. But you need to look beyond that suggestion and look for why are they calling it out. Remember, they are not your only customer. As a product, especially if you're working for a product company, remember Twitter, what is the character limit on Twitter today?
Wait.
280. What is the character limit before? 161, 140, right? From the time Twitter got introduced, right? Everybody wanted to increase that character limit. There was, if you were old enough to watch the space at that time, there was so much rage on the internet about how can Twitter do this? Why should they restrict it to 140? They don't even have the server capacity to handle this and that. I'm a product company. My decision is 140 characters. I don't need to explain to you why. This is my stance. Good 10, 20 years later, they increase it to 80. As a product, can you ask Microsoft and say, oh, why do you have this feature here? Why is the bold icon here not next to this italics button? Or why is it next to the italics button? Why is it not there? You cannot ask them that. It is a product company. They have a certain rationale behind making certain product decisions. Just because your customer is giving you one suggestion, we cannot budge and put that suggestion in, right? So when they give you a suggestion, it's important to evaluate that suggestion with a certain, take with a pinch of salt and understand the sentiment behind it, right? And capture it all. It's very important to record the sentiment. What we do is, oh, the customer said there's a problem with this, and then move on. We need to record the sentiment because what we have done so far is to talk to the customer, which is the first part. You've gathered the information, right? Now you have to process that information and come up with a solution. Remember the two arms? Oh, numbering is gone. Sorry. Now we have to process all that information and come up with some sort of a prototype that we can validate, right? So for you to do that, you need to capture all the sentiments during the entire process, during the customer interview or user interview, whatever you call it. Once you have that, you sit and construct the problem statement that you want to solve. You can use any framework that you want to solve to construct the statements and whatnot. But construct a statement and validate the problem. Now, some problems are big enough to be addressed, some problems you can live with, right? You can live with a pain with a headache for 2 hours. You cannot live with a pain in the ear for 2 hours. Some problems need attention immediately, some problems need, can wait. So make those judgments based on what you see here. And this is where data comes in. When you talk to customers, when you try and measure, it's important to measure or quantify this pain. How much time are they investing in doing this activity? By this solution, how much can you alleviate that? How much of it can be made better? This is extremely critical if you have a very argumentative boss. Because only if you have this data, you can go and sit in a prioritization discussion. If you don't have this data, if you not pay enough attention to quantify it, you're not winning the prioritization discussion with an engineering manager or with a director of product. Because they are not sitting in the interview, they don't understand. They will think, oh, this tech is important, no, this is important, that is important. Our new resources coming in next month, he is better at this, so we wait for him to join. all stories we get. It's important to quantify them, right? Once you quantify it, it's going to help you in prioritization decisions. So, which is why data is extremely important. I'm going to give you one more story. You guys know this candy called Reese's? Reese's? Heard of it? How many of you know it? Okay, good. 30% of you know. Reese's is like a peanut butter cup candy. It's an American candy. Think of it like a cupcake. Okay, Indian cupcakes. How do cupcakes look? It's like a paper wrap and then this cake inside. Instead of that, there's candy inside. And the amount of candy consumption in US culture is phenomenally high. Right? Normally people eat candies and moms would slap our hands if we have the second candy. Right? If you reached out for the second candy, but in US people tend to eat a lot. So remember the mistake, we always have this problem in driving. They eat a lot of candy. They have to eat something that they drive. So research was observing that their sales were not growing beyond a point. They were basically stuck at some point. Their sales was not growing. And when they observed it, what they found was to eat the Reese's candy, you needed two hands. You cannot eat that candy with one hand because the size of it, and also because you have to unwrap it with both hands. How can you unwrap a cupcake with one hand? Probably not. Nowadays we found ways to use like this, but they're not there yet. So Reese has identified this problem. And how do you identify this problem? Only when you observe the user. Only when you talk to the user. Right? Oh, you're driving, I see you're buying this candy, but why can't you buy these? Or you're buying Bounty or Mars or whatever, sneakers. Why not Reese's? Everybody loves Reese's, everybody loves peanut butter, right? And then that's when they found this problem and they came up with what's called Reese's Minis, a smaller version of Reese's. In a survey conducted from 2012 to 2016 by Nielsen, every year they made $50 million more every year after the introduction of Reese's Minis. No new formula, no new taste, nothing. Only by observing user, only by having the mindset to observe the user, they were not happy. They had a successful product, right? This was by no means a low performing candy, right? They had a highly successful product. How do I make that better? And to answer that question, I'm not sitting in an AC room trying to make that decision. I'm going to talk to my consumer to make that decision, right? So that's how important talking to the users is. Now you have identified the problem that you want to solve. You won the prioritization discussion. You're trying to see, okay, now I want to address this particular problem. That's when you need to assemble your trio. When I say trio, people who have read marketing will know. You always need to remember, we said you don't come up with solutions inside an AC room. You need to, technically it's also an AC room, but you need to bring in the product manager, which is yourself, the product designer, and also your engineering architect or whoever that person is. All of you come together, come up with some sort of a solution to that problem. Right? Engineer might say, oh, look, this size is too small to fit in the peanut butter. You will not know that. You will want everything in the world. Right? And designer will say, okay, if it is too small, it's very hard to hold in the hands. So you need to make it chunkier. Right? These inputs should come from all three of you. I'm not going to talk about why all three of you should be on the table. You can go back and read Inspired Marketing. He's probably has the best on why that is happening. So engage the trio and come up with a prototype. And I have a very, very critical and painful point I want to make here. Okay? This is extremely personal to me. When you have a prototype, right, and who do you validate the prototype to your customers, users? You have a demo, sprint demo, a lot of you have sprint demos. The most common mistake, I cannot stand this, is when we go to a demo in anticipation of approval. I hope he approves it. And even worse, I hope he doesn't ask me any questions. This is the worst possible mindset you can go to them. Please, if you have anybody on your team, if you have the authority, kick them out. Now, you go to a demo. The purpose. Let's go back to the time Scrum was introduced. Why did you have demos? You had to get feedback from the clients, right? The purpose of a demo is not to show the customer what happens when you click this button, but it is to demonstrate the solution to the customer and get his feedback on whether it addresses his needs. So prototype and demo the prototype to the customer with an intention. I will tell you this, if the customer agrees to it today, he will not agree to it tomorrow. If the solution is flawed, he will not agree to it tomorrow. By then you spend more money, suppose you spend more resources on it, and you will fail even more miserable when he rejects it tomorrow. So fail fast, right? That's the mantra. So when we demo, the mindset to have is to demo it with an open, with an anticipation of feedback, not anticipation of approval, right? So that's the most important thing. And like I said, I'm very, I've been very affected by it, as you can see. The last part is capable of whether the solution is capable of solving the problem. Remember, we spoke about data. This is when you need to validate that data. If I build something, my son can never be wrong, no matter what you say, right? If it's my baby, it can never be wrong, correct? So you need to validate the solution based on data. And while you do that, remove all your biases. Oh, my manager gave me this prototype. How can I go tell him that this is not working for the client? Remove all that bias. And even if your manager gave the prototype and you want to reject it, who's your friend? Data is your friend. Generate the data, go back to the whoever gave that to you and tell them that it's not working for the client. So this is the second, the left arm, the right arm is identifying, and the second arm is defining the solution. Remember who told you this? Trust the process. That is very good. MS Dhoni. MS Dhoni says trust the process. Think about this. Okay, you've all seen MS Dhoni a lot, so think about this. All of us have a product backlog. Every single item in that product backlog is a bet. A bet you're placing on behalf of your company. Yes or no? Correct? The more you place, the more you trust the process of product discovery, the better you will get at those bets. And remember, not every item in your backlog can be validated. You cannot validate everything. You don't even know the users for some of the items. The more you get proficient at the discovery process, you will get the hang of making a good decision. Even when you're blindsided, when you're in the lab, you'll be able to make better bets. Right? When you are in a situation at home, be it with your parents, with your wife, how are you able to, let's say there's a situation and you have to deal with it, you have to talk to them. How do you arrive at the optimal way to communicate it? Because you've done that so many times in the past. Correct? You have that experience. Only when you have that experience, you're able to have that conversation and sort that problem out. Correct? Product development is very similar. If you've done it enough times in the past, you have the knack of making a sale better. And your bet becomes better over time if you have a strong product mindset. So I want to end with that. If you have any, thank you for patiently listening to me. And I want to end with, I have a thank you slide, but I'll end with MS Dhoni slide. I'll not split slide with it. Thank you for your time. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to take. Thank you.
Can ask him questions. I want a lot of people to ask him a lot of questions.
Go for it. Yeah.
I really don't understand what to quantify, how to quantify. You have ways. So, so how are you going to quantify the problem understanding that? Really, with a manager, when you have your decision. I want to understand what should I quantify, how should I quantify it? Is it that to make a
Yeah, depends on what line of work or what domain you are in. I'll give you an example from my domain. Right? I work with property managers. Somebody, so let's say there's a 120 apartment building, and there is somebody that's appointed to be a community manager, and he's responsible for maintaining that community. He comes and tells me, oh, okay, so I got complaints from 3 different people that their codes on the road did not work. Right? And when I talk to that person, one of the things is the apparent number is the 3 issues per day on average. Right? How long does it take for you to fix? What percentage of those troubleshooting do you have to reach out to our support versus what percentage can you do it yourself? Right? So they are not going to give you apparent numbers. If you were in that spot, let's say they are talking about, oh, I'm on Netflix, but I think I wish they had a better selection of movies. How much time, what time do they give you watch Netflix? And how much time do you normally spend trying to identify a movie you want to watch? Out of 10, how many times do you find something you can watch? These are ways for you to understand the sentiment and then find ways to quantify that. And once you have, let's say, improved the search algorithm in Netflix, go to the same person after 6 months, ask them the same question. And if the numbers have improved, then it's solution work. Right? And don't just go to that one person, talk to 10 other people. Right? And they say, on an average, you should at least talk to, my company standard is you should at least talk to 10 customers per quarter, which is very, very low. But we are just getting started, so that's the number we do. So the key is to not, the numbers are not going to be apparent. We can talk offline and see how we can do that, but the numbers are not going to be apparent. Nobody's going to give you direct numbers, but overall it should be, you should look to exact that number. Okay. Yeah. Please.
When you're trying to come up with the solutions for individual customer needs, unfortunately, we're not Microsoft. We don't have the luxury of saying that this is how the product works. Every customer has their own unique needs. And you always end up at a stage where you might have to build a lot of configurations on the product for every customer, right? So how do you take the decision? How do you come up with the solution that is working across all clients? How do you see that it has to be a conflict?
We need to. I have one other person here who's worked for a product. We had 5,000 configs in that product. Okay, so I'm sure your problem is not as big as you're getting there, but hopefully not. We need to draw the line somewhere, right? Up until the point your company is growing, you might want to, let's say your company is having an issue sustaining. Your company needs that money. You might make 1 or 2 sacrifices and say, okay, we give you a company. But at some point, we need to draw the line. The business situation might force me to add a config. You might not want to use that line. You add a config and so on. But configs are never a good idea because of, it's not sustainable. You cannot maintain business. As a business, you want to decide. You can certainly, the technical folks have tremendous knowledge. They will tell you 100 ways to not put a config, but still use, bring configurability. You can leverage those. So fall back on your dev team and ask them this question. Remember the product clear, which this is where they come in. Tell them this is what they want, but we already have these 10 people using it differently. How do I go back and build something that is unique to both of them? So they might have a technology solution to that, but I think you need to draw the line somewhere. Your business might not be big enough, ready enough to take that hard stance, but at some point you need to grow enough to make that stance. That's my take. Okay. Shall I take this one first? Please go.
So how do we deal with these situations when we don't have sufficient data, when we don't have data that is accurate or incorrect data, but still the customer or business wants to solve that problem?
I think we should do that. That's the honest answer. But you develop that. You develop a good muscle naturally, or you develop good habits by constantly doing your product discovery. You develop enough good judgment so you can make these decisions even when you're completely blank course. Now, my company works in smart home. Okay, we make smart thermostats and smart locks and whatnot. Now suddenly my CTO comes to me and says, let's try and see if we can tackle rental payments using our platform. Smart home is hardware based. He comes and tells me, let's do rental payments. I'm completely blindsided. Right? I have not spoken to anybody that collects money from renters. I've only spoken to people. These are two sets of people, right? At that time, you have to make certain decisions, hoping and praying they work. But the key is to stop the investment. Take the investment only to a certain point where you can roll back. I'm not going to say I'll build a rental application that will solve problems of the entire world. I will build a small prototype, show it to 10 clients, get their feedback. Ideal number is 7. When you have 7 clients who like a solution, then that's a good solution. So build something that you can show to 7 people and get a positive feedback, and then invest further on that decision. So until that point, I think you have to iterate and shoot in the air and keep going forward. I think that's the way I will do it.
Retail, we will be usually go and try, right? Because from my experience, I have seen, talking too much people, getting there too much has been counterproductive. And there are certain case studies and statistics that also say that you don't have to take your customers or user experiences into your product discovery and building completely assets. They could be based on their previous experiences, right? And this is very cliche, right? Steve Jobs has already said you don't talk to your customers because their inputs come down via the experience. So how do how much of weightage should I give here?
Yeah, they always say, oh, if you ask a customer, he would not know he would need a car. He will say he need a faster horse. Right? If you ask a customer, he would not know what a car is. I mean, back in the day, he would not have told you I need a car. He would have told you I need a faster horse. So there's an argument on that side as well. You give me 2 job offers, right, from 2 companies. One where I have to build a product on my own without talking to customers, bet my skills alone, build that product. The other one where I can talk to customers and build the product, I will take this one. Because I have a more sense. It's like Virat Kohli saying, oh, I have a scoreboard that I can chase. I have an idea of how much what I'm chasing and I will chase that.
But that's when Virat Kohli be right. So for example,
my friend, that is the reason I had MS Dhoni there. But the point is this, though. Everything will have a counter opinion. There are people who have succeeded there. My personal opinion, my experience, what I have done personally, I am better when I talk to customers. That's just my. That's how I know to do it, and I'm being very comfortable, right? Yeah. Also, it depends on. It's like Ajay versus waterfall. What products we build on Ajay versus what you build on waterfall. If I'm a restaurant owner, right? I have 20 crores money. I come to you and say, oh, okay, they say that there's something called a software. Can you build me a software, right? To you, there is complexity and there is lack of clarity in requirements. When that is the case, what do? You go agile because you want constant feedback from me. Make sure I like the product, right? So it is something like that. If you are seeking constant feedback, if your domain requires you to get some customer feedback. If you're building B2B, they clearly know what they want. If you're building B2C, the person is probably drunk when you talk to them. Right? So you can't always rely on.
Yeah, so, and it's not clear, so whatever we research right now, right, that might work very good for 1 to 10. But when I'm working on a 0 to 1 company or when I have a problem to solve, but I know there is a market, on 0 to 1 might not be really, I don't have to spend enough time on that particular area.
Sure, that's the same point I made. No? Go long enough. I would go long enough to a point where I have a prototype that I can validate. I will still validate with a customer. I will shoot in the air to a point where I have a prototype, take that prototype to the client and then validate. So 0 to 1, probably I have a semi-working prototype, which I will build in my own in silos, but I will still validate it. Thank you.
Just to add to that,
Yeah.
the related question is a common question. Once you start getting into a domain and start understanding the user personas, that's where what you talked about, gaining them more experience. So when you start getting more experience about the personas, even if you get multiple dimensions of inputs, you'll be able to clutter the noise and understand what is the underlying factor. The point is that when you start talking to customers, 10 different customers will give 10 different ideas. What would it take? And you will not have different data points. That's where you should understand the user persona, understand the industry. Try to visualize what they are actually doing. What would you, if you are a property manager, what would be your life? Right? So that's when you take better decisions. Even though you have not enough data points or you take a lot more noises, you can clutter those, and that's when we can also present it to your head and shot with a board saying, hey, this is why you're doing this, and this is one opportunity out there.
I had a quick share. I wasn't trying not to fall in the category. Don't define it too strongly. Let's say, the car and the carriage example that you mentioned. Sometimes abstraction works. For example, instead of saying in the car business, ask yourself if you're in the mobility business. So you can solve the same problem differently. Sometimes that helps. Try not to define your category too strongly. And so there could be other examples.
First of all, thanks to the very good session. Reviews. I think that's very important case. One point, we need to talk to the customers to know the problems rather than getting used to contact. That's my perspective. On top of it, your example will be take for talk to the property managers. When three customers comes and gives an input, they compare their code, we talk to the property manager, that's their problem related. But when we go one step further, talk to the user whose code did not work, when DRP is having a person emergency, there's a new code. This is to get right, B2B and also B2C. Apart from barriers in the end user, we also have influencing customers. Probably the course not because right and it's done. This is why I said you need to buy a OPST and now you see it always over. So we are making the settings. What is the proposal that you have on your personal perspective? Talking to property managers or the users, maybe the individual customers or competitors. What is the percentage that you would suggest to get the sentimental analysis to come up with a repairing the problem statement?
It's a very specific question about my line of business, but I'll answer that question, right? We don't force, I'll try to keep it as generic as possible. We don't force the solution on a customer. So when I say I'm in the smartphone business, what we sell is a lock on the front door, right? We don't tell them what brand of lock you need to buy. So we are not forcing something that you don't want. We are selling the smartphone experience to you. What hardware you use is up to you. Do you think Bajaj is more reliable than something else? All means, let's do that. We are compatible with Bajaj as well. So The fact that we don't upfront, we don't force sell anything to them, this problem doesn't arise for us. Of course, there will be, the feedback that we get from a property manager is very different. He'll be like, I had so much extra work today. Three residents complained. I'm having enough time dealing with them. And the resident feedback on our app will be like, this product is shit, doesn't work. Right? That's the feedback, that's the tone. And I think we'll have to deal with both of them. The key is to not oversell. It's very hard to convince sales to not oversell, but the key is to not oversell. I don't know if the last was a question.
I will percentage of sentiment consolidation engineers when we are in B2B and B2C.
We take down and I need to understand the customer.
Sure.
Yeah. We take 2 more questions and any other question after. Okay. So
When you say, let's say customers, right? So is there like any criteria by which you select the customer?
great question. How do you identify customers that you want to talk to? One of the things that my team's doing is, let's say we release a certain feature. Let's take Swiggy for instance, right? They improved the filter of button inside Swiggy. Okay, they did some work on it. We will see how many people or who are the people that clicked on that button for more than 3 times or 7 times in the last 30 days. We get a list of those users and we reach out to the users. And we will ask that discussion will be specific to that area of the application. So you basically identify usage and based on that you make. And the other thing is sometimes, depending on what you want to interview the customer about, if it's about a specific feature you use for usage, do for usage. Sometimes if it's like a business decision, you want to use the rental payment integration or not. That's a business decision. I will look for specific users who have the ability to influence the people that are paying for it. The users are not always paying for it, correct? You understand what I'm saying, right? Don't always think B2C. If it's a B2B, somebody that's using your application is not making the purchase decision. They don't decide. So you go with happy users, or you go with users that are very closer to the decision makers. Look for those users and be close. Depending on what you want to interview about each of those specific segments. One more question. We'll laugh with it.
So, I'm looking at B2C sales let's start. I'm working on B2C sales as startup. So while I have an end with the customer, the majority of my users obviously depend on sales. So I'm currently building a solution for a problem which impacts the end customer, but is actually in turn causing a lot more friction for the internal sales. So it's actually making data interpretation and to sell. Now a lot of those things much more slower. But we have validated that setting those friction points is better for the customer in the end outcome perspective. How would you approach the adoption internally? How would you handle them selling? How would you handle the communication internally so that there is adoption, there is no loss of trust or lack of trust? How will you approach?
I'm understanding you're building something like a sales force where you're managing leads and things like that, right? So I would talk to people. Let's say you're building Salesforce. I am a sales rep who's entering leads and prospecting leads through that system. I would talk to, if I were you, I would talk to my manager and see, oh, this is the average time it takes for somebody to go through this. This is your average sales duration, sales cycle, right? Are you happy with that number? What does that number tell you? Right? Ask them about how they would try and make that efficient. If you were a sales rep, how would you feel about it? I would talk to their boss. People always complain. They will always find reasons. But you are not building the product to make me happy. Right? You're building the product to make my boss happy because he's paying you money, right? So I would talk to them one level above and try and get their segment. That's probably something that I'll be, talk about. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Thanks for your time.
Welcome, Ila, here to deliver a session on finding how to incorporate or how we can incorporate LLM into the product. She's a lead product owner at Toyota Connected. So let's welcome. I don't want to waste not speakers or people. So let's directly dive into the session. Let's invite her for the session. Thank you.
So before the slide pack comes up, I thought you want to remember it's learn about myself. So I am Elizabeth Kalemi. I am a lead product owner at Toyota. Started my career as a developer and then a business consultant, and now into product management. So I'm the product owner for the virtual assistant product for the heavy market. Yeah, that's a very quick brief about me. And for today's session, yeah, the next phase of product development, probably it's the current phase of product development, is how can we embrace large language models into our products. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Now, looking at the diverse crowd I have here, I'm going to start, I'm going to structure this whole session into two. The first one, I'll touch upon the basics of LLM, like what is LLM, how it works, why LLM, and what are the applications in the market that is already having LLM models. And then I'll move on to how LLMs are used in the automotive value chain. Again, I'm not touching on all the segments of the automotive value chain when LLMs are used. For each segment, I'll probably touch upon a single use scenario or use case, right? That's how this whole presentation is structured. Okay, what is LLM? So, as most of you know, LLM is large language models. These are artificial intelligence systems that is actually bringing a vast amount of data, and they use deep learning techniques to understand the structure and pattern of the language. Why? Because they have to understand and generate human text-like conversations, right? So that's the basic of LLMs. These are actually trained with large corpus of textual data. Okay, this is now. These are the popular apps that are already there that have the LLM ability. For example, Gemini, Google Gemini has the LLM in the same ability. Of course, OpenAI, ChatGPT, and Cortana is Microsoft's virtual assistant, which has the LLM underneath. Grammar, again, computer generation. So typically, it fixes the grammar and suggests you, more nice sentences. GitHub Mobile and Tabline, these are code generation and code completion tools available. And then Twitter, most of you use Twitter, and the Explore tab in Twitter has a LLM underneath. It curates the news and videos for individuals. And then this one, of course, it has it is with the whole meaning with the LLM. Now, Adobe's Photoshop has the content aware pillar, probably for its image generation. Then we have Salesforce. I think again, AI-powered feature in the Salesforce platform. Probably gives all the sales analytics. And also, I have a chatbot that answers sales-related inquiries. So yeah, I think these are the popular apps that are, in the market and that are already using LLMs. Now, why LLMs, right? The significance, right? So there are three major reasons. One is they have a transformative potential, right? So as we all know, when ChatGPT was introduced in late 2021, it revolutionized the industry. How? Because most of the tasks can be automated. The content generation could be easy. Text summarization could be easy. and more national language conversation is also, there. Then enhanced user experience, right? See, the large language models has, basically understands natural language. That means it understands your intent and the user preference, which means it can provide you with personalized recommendation. And this is what I think Netflix does, and the earlier example that I gave of Twitter also does, right? That's a classic example of this. And then competitive advantage, right? Why is there a competitive advantage? As product managers, we can boost innovation for a company, and then we can have differentiators, key differentiating features in our market. With this, now I'm also talking about content creation. Now I want to quickly open AWS feature for party law. So I just wanted to show and tell here. Typically, I want to go over one quick app. Okay, can you see this? So this is what party app. So this is especially used for buying product owners. With this, you can actually conceptualize your ideas. Probably with party pack, you can create your own apps. For example, I can say, give me a blog writer or give me a movie recommender and say what kind of genres I like and what kind of directors and players I like. And it generates the app and gives a recommendation for me. So typically, this is a small use case that is used for conceptualization by the product owners itself, built on LLM, right? So this is how you can boost innovation. You can actually talk with LLMs, use ChatGPT to create and curate ideas, right? Yeah. So that's what it is about. Moving back, we can play with the course session, but I have a lot of content to cover. Just quickly move on. Basics of LLM, right? Okay, so I would like to eat. It could either be biryani, banana, Google, or it could be vegetarian Chinese. It all depends on the underlying language model that is there, to which there is the next word class. Typically, for in here, this is an example from GDM auto company, which uses a LLM underneath. So, if you read the email, thanks for reaching out. At this time, I'm not interested, or it could also be I'm not available. But interested pops up because there is a contextual awareness. It knows my history, right? Yeah. So, another, everywhere it's Dhoni, right? Dhoni finishes off it. Anybody?
Right.
Yeah. But to your right, you see a language model. Now, this I can call is based on or trained based on only colors, right? So when I say the same input to this model, it probably would say Dhoni finishes off in yellow. But in with a large language model, where there's a very language corpus or text corpus, it really here Dhoni finishes off in standard. So that's the major difference between the normal language models that we have versus the large language models. This is only trained with small amount of domain specific data, whereas in the large language models we have a heavy text corpus. Okay. Now we deep dive into the LLM use cases that I was talking about. Okay. These are the LLM use cases. Now I am not touched upon all the segments in the value chain. I am only interested in marketing sales and after sales service, because we have we don't have, or not a lot of us are in automotive, industry, and these four use cases are applicable to everyone across the industry, right? For company and sales, we've got two use cases. One would be content generation, LLM using LLM in content generation, LLM usage in its summarization, and then for after sales, I'll be talking about the chatbot. The customers are the chatbot, and then after sales, virtual assistant is the product that I will focus on. Moving on, I think Badri, based on the discovery, I've not done the discovery yet, but then I'm just calling out the unmet needs here. So, what is the unmet need, right? So, as a marketing manager, I'm only talking about a single pain point here. Streamline content creation, right? Not all of us have a content generation team. It is very time consuming. Now, we really run out of ideas when we want to create contents, right? These are major blockers for a marketing. Now, in order to do that, we do have LLMs that could generate content for social media. It could generate blogs. It can suggest relevant images that we can use for our marketing posters. And there are also co-pilots for the entire marketing flow. For example, Midjourney AI, if anybody is used, it generates the images. Sora, not yet productionized, but overall Sora will give us videos. And then Jasper and Copy.ai are typically used in the marketing workflow. Now, this is the unmet needs of the use case, but what I would want to talk about is this. Now, if you see the libraries, this was showcased in the 2023 auto show in New York by our TPN, in North America. Now, what you see on the right is this happened June 2023. Now, all the users were asked to just type a text describing what kind of news they want to do. And typically type Gandhi or Midjourney AI, but this was done in the official in collaboration with the marketing team. So we used the large, open source data set administrators to do this. So what a user can do is they can simply write, I want to see my red texts in a broccoli array first. Or I can say, give me an image of my black texts in a party also. Or simply say white texts on the in the traffic of Chennai, and it gives this image. Now this is a small use case, a classic example of a feature that we developed with LLM already for moving on. Let's come to second segment of our value chain, the sales. Right? What happens? What are the typical pain points from a sales manager, right? Call analysis. So call summarization is definitely a problem. So it's very time consuming to go over summary of calls to understand if the agents have clearly follow the best practices. I mean, it's very hard for a sales manager to go through all this and get a score of the agent. The next point is salesperson training. Of course, we have to spend a lot of time to train on new person. Now, these two unmet needs, of course, we can leverage LLM to create call summarization tools. You can also generate report on the calls and the agent itself. And then, of course, LLM covers sales training. Think of it this way: one cool use case could be you can have a AI agent to mimic the customer to train the sales agent, right? So these are some examples. What is available in the market is we have Call Finder and AWS Connect. These are the market leaders in this space for organization. We also have Shopify's co-pilot tools. Now what did we do in this case? Quick example. What you see there is, I mean, this is public information. So this is a quick summary of a call. It's a long summary. You can also generate a short summary of a call. Then on the top right, you can see training data that is generated using the LLM. And then you can also say, understand the intent of the agent and a customer, right? You can understand if it's going to be an escalation call or it's a very good call. So what we can just create a POC for this and for the call summarization. Now, I just wanted to use this example. So now I have a call summary of different channels. I'm going to just put it inside a ChatGPT and ask it to generate the call summary for me. Let's see what happens. I already So I've already given the input. So the script that you see is a call summarization between a customer and a British Airways agent. Typically a quick summary to the agent. I'm just asking to the agent's code. Probably could give me more information on how empathetic the user was, how efficient the agent was. But yeah, our POC, we were able to do all those parameters. So that's again a classic example of doing a call summarization. This was done for the destination assist and safety assist products. Let's move back to the slide. Yeah, enhancing customer support with LLM. I think customer support is a problem in any manner, right? Personally, what I felt is every time I go over and have bad experience, I go and understand what kinds of problems should I raise. My problem is never listed on the list that they have. And every time I call some customer service, I don't especially with Agile and yeah, that's the story there. So it's very time consuming. We don't get personalized personal assistant, right? Different agents with different, not all agents are different, right? I don't have a very nice experience. We do have LLM powered national language connection tax support. And then we can also have LLM powered conversational audio agents. So there are already applications in the market, communicate and value AI. What we've done is this. Okay, this again, it tells you the problem, right? This step, if you W English plus one, I mean, this whole step can be removed if we have a LLM powered, agent on the other side of the path. Now, the last example I give, the technical issues, my issue will never be listed on the list that they have, right? So, before we go on what we did at the POC, I want to ask you how many of you have read through the OS manual in your vehicle? Yeah? Okay, how was the experience? Right. So what we did was this. So solid bonus money this is done by the driver rate of North America. So we have a web page. It's an interactive guide, the chatbot. So it's really means like a stability control, right? When you want to turn it on and you want to take down the demand. Now, we use our LLM to communicate. The LLM is based on the contents of 2024 algorithm. And there is the interactive guide for the owner's manual where you can say, hey, how do I turn off VSP or any commands and inputs. You will both have the page of the owner's manual is also given and the exact response. So this is the POC and then based on that large language model. Yeah. Right. This is on the product that I'm currently in the market, the VA product. So it was launched in October 21. And the support was only for limited domains. And the conversation improvement is something that we could do. So there are already models of conversational AI available in the market, like Siri, Microsoft Copilot, OK Google. But what can we do to better this? Probably can we use large language model, but we can't do it for all, right? Not all the use cases that are covered by the existing virtual assistants are appropriate for a car, right? So this is our virtual assistant. You can just say you can have, okay, right, and say, hey, I want to eat like sushi, or I want to navigate to a coffee shop, or you can just say I think to code and it will go and update the HVAC commands. So this is the product, but this would be enhanced. The conversation and the conversation awareness space to be enhanced and improved with it. Yeah. So that's about the various use cases that I wanted to cover in the 4 segments in the value chain. Let's come to the challenges, right? Of course, in the development cost, there is data cost, training cost, when it comes to development, operation cost, working around language model means, a math infrastructure and cost. Of course, bias. So when I speak of bias, the open source models or closed source models, they are biased to probably ethically biased outcomes, or you also get gender biased outcomes. So that is what bias is. That's a challenge that we have to address. Ethical concerns, right? Privacy, right? We should make sure our data is good and we don't go and scrape data from everything. And then explainability, we really can't understand why the LLM gave such an answer, right? So explainability is always a problem. Probably you get one answer now and a different answer the next time. So that's already there. Of course, hallucinations. There was one classification of hallucination where one of my teammates were searching for a research paper and it gave a totally non-existent paper with a non-existent outcome. That's a classic example of hallucination. Of course, it's complex. You can't deeper and understand why I got this response for this request. Yeah, so most acquisition products are not just marginally better than existing solution, but significantly superior in terms of value, performance, or user experience. So yeah, in order to build such products, we need to have a 10x better product theory. We have to, embrace LLM and reverberate, differentiating feature the product and customers. Yep, that's all I had. So. examples of some use cases that are happening currently, but even an example of the marketing one. Any other 3 months which uses GenAI that we could share a little bit about, and maybe some challenges we face with that also. Not all of them would be listed in the challenges that Techceleration. Yeah, so I think cost optimization is, I mean, I just shared what we mentioned here on the topic for it. So cost optimization is one thing that we are doing. And then, of course, the challenges is again, I think the hallucinations that I was talking about and the bias. Of course, getting different summary at different time. I think those are the challenges also applicable to the products or the business that we see. So cost optimization is something that we are pursuing. And again, the honest content. So these are 2 things that we have pursued.
How do you prioritize the AI uses?
How do you prioritize the AI use?
You need to convince the stakeholders for this.
Oh, again, yeah, it depends on the product priorities, right? I can't just go and say, hey, this is a very relevant, I was want to have this now. I will probably run a survey of this is a feature that is available. Even for a virtual assistant, if somebody says, no, I need something that Alexa does, as I told you, will not be available for in-car virtual assistant, right? I can't just for doing a nice AI feature, I can't incorporate it. So probably I'll understand it to the customer survey. I'll probably do the POC and understand what people think about it, understand the customers really need it, and then get back and do it. Put it to my priorities. Yeah.
I will do that. So what was this? How do you identify the areas that you can develop the gains? Because when I did the same what it's like, they know the product, but they want to select, they say that we need AI feature, but they will say where it is needed, how it is needed. How do you identify those areas?
I think the whole, I mean, I was trying to structure the whole presentation around identifying areas. So if you see the whole structure, right, what we are trying to do is for every unmet need, I'm trying to map it to a existing LLM use case that I can leverage to solve the problem, right? So, I mean, you have to sit with your LLM, after all, this is last time before, right? You need to understand what can be done, what are its limitations, all that before you can mapping it and trying to solve a particular need. So, what you can do is, I mean, you can categorize your feature, I mean, multiple features. You can discuss with your ML engineers, understand where AI feature can get in, and then probably do a POC, share it, and then sell it. Right? I mean, I was trying to map the whole thing, right? So I was just thinking, I went to the whole value chain. I thought, what kind of LLM use cases are applicable for everybody? And since these are conversational AIs, only when you have a customer interaction, you can actually put this forward. Otherwise, if you are into analytics, there are LLMs that on analytics tool, right? For example, if you are if you want to develop sales analytics, you can probably use a LLM underneath to develop nice dashboard. So basically, you have to split the domains and understand what best you can have.
The approach you just spoke, right? You're just trying to see how I can fit in.
Yes.
So it's like you're not just trying to address someone's problem, or you're not trying to see. You're just because, for example, told me that it's only to a big companies so that they can just flush the money on building something which is not asked or which is not expected, right?
Yeah, but the whole point of the presentation is to give a graph of what is available in the leverage. Same issue, right? For us, For us, this is the problem. Owners manual, people want to read owners manual. That's the problem when I solve the LLM. Unless you understand the needs of the customers, you can't really come and mediate work and propose a vision. So definitely I'm not fitting something that's already there into my product. No, only when I have a need, I will go through the option and try to get a best fit.
Unless I have to be written like that.
Yeah.
Things comes into the conversation. Product is very mindset.
Yeah.
We can dive into their concepts, try to find out the needs of them. Yeah, other than asking collaborate.
So on the hallucination, you mentioned about the one example where your colleague tried to check and he gave a research paper which is not even existing and not the proper. See, I'm just curious, even to make it out, because you need to have
Very difficult.
you need to have the expertise or
Yes.
competence to make out whether, because the information in the internet is so huge. You will just to make out itself needs a lot of intelligence, is what I would think of. And I think that's going to be a biggest risk of people or the consumers or the using these tools where it's going to throw you some response or answer. And just to make it whether it is authentic or not itself is going to be a challenge. So I'm just curious how can your colleagues, if the person is a thorough expert at that level, and if it's going to be a different customer or a different customer, if I'm a layman or a novice person, then to make it out, it's going to be a challenge. It would trick me that it is a research paper and the author exists.
Yeah. Probably what she would done is, again, she was trying to understand an LLM. She was working on LLM research. She was trying to understand the papers. Probably she would have taken the heading and then searched elsewhere and understood that this is hallucination. Otherwise, this would be very complex. I think what complexity is a challenge and explainability is the next thing, right? I can really not explain why this went wrong.
So maybe that's going to be a
That's something that's a challenge that we have to address in the future when we are thinking of working on it.
the challenge is like I'm so used to this kind of thing. Like, I think I want to say we will believe that whatever is going to be true. Nobody will have time to even go and double check on.
Yeah. Because this was identified because it's a research paper and people want to download the research paper and it was not existing. Otherwise, no way that this would have been normal.
Thanks.
Just like a plan. So when you say it works fine with, let's say, a guide, whereas it's not even, let's say, let's say, clear, let's say, Bitcoin, let's say, open source, let's say, data. Just like searching like a verb, use, let's say, some random translation, whereas if we, let's say, give, let's say, guides or, let's say, some training content.
So we are going to compare it's a large data concept and before everywhere. But in this case, what we did, we trained our elders only on owners manual. So there won't be any hallucination.
So in terms of, let's say, if we have, let's say, closed, etc.
Okay.
Yeah.
I make a very big point because there's a lot of questions about where it's LLM made a very good point on how they identified the legal manual use case. I think to do it generically, how do I find the use case where I can put in LLM or where I can employ LLM? The key is to identify what is your value for your end user. Identify that value proposition and then see with your product review, identify what LLM opportunity I can have around that value chain. We have customers coming to us and say, oh, the whole industry talks about AI and ML. Why can't your company innovate something? Why can't we come up with something? We want AI. Boss, you know what even AI is? I can't ask a question to example. But I think the syntax is to identify value, what matters to your clients, and then see where is value, LLM can add value. I just want to
So do more on mobility part, which means inside the engineering. So you take data sets from that, which means preventive maintenance or things.
Not, we do, we have PCDs which have models around them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Being one like you feel that is going to be a new future.
Definitely.
Because that one also will have a data point for the sales team or someone to say that your car is running at this point.
Sure.
And we can go back and see that you have to get it maintained at this point.
Yeah.
Because that is just one thing you do in your teams.
Definitely, that's usually that.
Yeah.
This is Rich. Yeah, I'm an ML specialist, so it's a question. I was interested in what you said on how do you do RAG evaluations. Looks like you did this for the RAG, right? The manual work percent RAG.
Yeah.
The manuals they gave. So typically, what frameworks you use, we tried as much as actually personally with them, like Julians and Raga and so on. You're not really having the results, so that's starting as.
But I have things in here that we talk to offline.
And second thing is maybe as a product, you can talk about how to make a decision between using the product versus using like some real RAG framework, and also take that's on the question.
Okay, I mean, on the technical aspect, I just consider my data engineering. So when they say that this can be achieved better with this, I take their words. So we have a RFC process where we get consent from different people before accepting that this is the right approach. And that's what I do.
Sorry, now I have a meeting and I'm going to make it so. One last one, how do you take that whatever your POCs have you actually put it to production? What kind of considerations are there in the organization to kind of the abstract level? Because there are things that we have to.
Yeah, I mean, once you have a POC, it just can't go territory. I mean, that is there in every organization. So unless I have a data point to back my need for the POC to launch, I can never take it to production. So that is the approach I have to talk to my, the CPO, and then say this is a good product to launch, and then we are on.
Question was more specific, like how many users, what are the scaling points, how do you decide whether the elections?
So currently we are working on 24x. We do have 21 data. We do have data outputs. We do have numbers. We do understand the usability, the user adoption, the churn, all of it is there. We can also understand the usage features to take a call for the next round.
Can LLM help do product discovery?
I mean, go to chatbot and say I have this problem, and then say, can I do this? Like, you're talking about ideation and brainstorming using an LLM. Of course, lot of us do, right? If I have a problem, I mean, I can't ask it to generate ideas, but if you ask it to even generate ideas. And then the party talk that I just showed you, you can really say, I want to build a blog writer. And it will probably give you an LLM-based approach. It will give an input. It will probably give you a wireframe on how it should be there. So that's a nice one that you can do.
We have 2 more questions, and
Yeah, please.
yeah, there's 2 more questions.
Yeah, I have one question. So if you are wanting to add this AI model or LLM and e-commerce or e-commerce in the search, right? So as you said, there is some variability, what responsibility will flow. Is there any tool like we are currently using the Firebase? If you are in Firebase without AI,
So what will enter your head? So it will have to go there like advanced way. It will show all the screenshot for every page for every option. Like you can compare what kind of readability it will go. So for LLM, to change the LLM, it will be a different kind of AI model to change between AI model versus non product. So what kind of percentage of readability it will go using the normal versus AI service.
Can you be more specific?
Yeah, so for example, in any e-commerce site, to normal search you will get 10 results. Okay. And to AI search you will get 10 results. Okay, it can be for normal search it will do 10, to AI search it will be 10.
Normal search is solved in 5 ways.
Yes.
Okay, that's your data set.
Yes.
But your AI will have some large corpus of data set and it can give you anything.
Yes, correct. So, is there any model to track this variability?
Variability, I'm not really sure. Again, I'll in chat with that ML engineers course is called to understand the model you want to use.
So
That's fine.
yeah, I work in an e-commerce business. Yeah. So usually, if you actually the searches that what we have. Actually, the searches what we have in the market, like example, Algolia, the other searches that they use, they give a pretty good answers about the searches, right? And when you go with the AI, you don't focus on the AI part of like, I want to search product, relevant product, because Algolia is already doing that. The other search models, what we have doing that. When you go to AI, it is more like more defined way of searching. Let's say in Mantra, they have an AI which can guide you what research you want. So let's say I say that I'm going on a trip to Goa. Suggest me 3 dresses. Then it suggests a list. So that kind of AI is the what the e-commerce sites and e-commerce thing was expecting. So we did a prototype on the e-commerce site. Whenever the third day in ChatGPT release, our team took it and did a prototype for it. And the cost of this is way higher than what you think. Because each e-commerce product will have, each e-commerce site will have at least minimum of 1,000 to 10,000 products. So every time when you search, it goes through the description of 10,000, the token generator is. So the way of implementing the AI should be not the results that we are getting search, but how friendly it can give the search to the users. Yeah. So, yeah, let's say I'm giving you an example. We host an electronics site. Okay, so where we sell laptops, all the gaming things and electronics in Iceland. Okay, let's say a user comes and searches, I want to gift my son who's 14 years for his birthday. Suggest me a gift under 35,000 budget. If I do the next searches the price of the product, give me 35,000 rupees worth of product. 35, whichever the product worth is 35,000, it is going to. But I don't want that. I basically want, I can 35,000 means I can buy 10,000, 10,000. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, that's what I said.
I think the context is
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that we have right companies that
Yeah.
based on user budget, you can put a feedback. I think like body budget. That's something you can take back and you want to think this particular SKU is being purchased by this demographic of user for this product. You have it in the data analysis, and you don't need
Yeah. So what I was mentioning is you don't need an AI for search, rather than you need an AI for context search. That's what I mean. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah,
So as a product, so the AI will be moving over the last year because as a product manager, you have a method of how you treat this and complete it. So you learn the new technologies. You have a process to this which you progress. Because there is a new update every week, there is a new technology, there's a new Innovation, that's something. How we do it, completed and apply it.
So what we do in some product team, so we work the product teams with PCM, so as excellent. Now we have a weekly sync of the products, and monthly once we have a conference page that has the latest books and latest news that is published, and once a month we have a book version where people suggest a great book and then we review it and then understand the concepts. Again, we do have Slack channels where we publish, we have a product book where we publish anything new. So that's exactly. Yeah. Could be either be a medium to any book. So
I think we can ask this question for the team policy, because like there are so many members.
So they integrate to early things to that. It's nice to be.
I didn't think we were good marketing. 5,000 equally.
it's a 10-minute leadership.
That's what things are better. We can solve it. Any other question related to LLMs?
Hey, how do you evaluate your LLM partner? For example, this transcription use case that we told, there are multiple companies out there who are giving this.
So you're talking about how do I choose the LLM
partner.
underneath, right?
Correct. Not about building, but also there are partners who are already using it. A lot of startups don't have the luxury of building it, but themselves they want to use a partner. How do they evaluate across multiple companies? Everybody's transcribing the call, but how do you know who's doing better?
So in all the use cases we build our LLMs on top of something that's already there, like Lambda. The engineers can answer that, but yeah, we did. But evaluating an LLM partner again, okay. Yeah. What we did is, even for the virtual assistant, it's not an MLM product basically, but any partner evaluation, we get all the service providers. We do a 1 week of evaluation for all three, understand what are the parameters that we want to check, based on cost and development, time to market, all that. And based on it, we do an evaluation and then say, okay, this is a better fit for our product. And then we take it to the next step. And there comes again, after there is legality, cost something, all that is considered before even you sign up a partner. I think that would be the same for the LLM partner.
If you are in-house, right, so what are the success metrics that are you tracking to,
Sorry to.
No. What I will do is after in the breakout session, I have Kritika here, who's our lead ML engineer. Probably you can have a word with her and then we can collaborate and talk about this. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone? Yeah.
Can you just take me through your usual product life cycle for AI or
Offline?
Yeah.
I mean, in the same way, we do have another thing to run a survey. We use it to run a survey. We do a concept, we publish it, or we do the POC, depending upon where we are, right? We are one FDM to a POC. And then we publish it, we understand what the user thinks about it. And then, depending upon whether it's needed or not, or if it's going to be enhancement on a product, we have data points that we look into, right? And then we take that as information to go to the next step. So that's how the user discovery happens, and then.
That's fine. So what happens after 3 months? Like how do you prevent it?
I mean, depending upon the user adoption rate, churn rate, we do have success metrics to define if the product or feature is selling or not selling, right? Depending upon the data that we have, we take data points that lets us know this is a feature that has been used so many times. Or we also have features that have not been used, which means the next generation will probably not be used.
Thanks so much. So I would like to GP standard CEO of Toyota in India to share some words about the event.
Okay, welcome to all the product folks today and the product folks team as well for collaborating on this. Really amazed to see a huge turnout today. We've been running these events for the last 3 to 4 years, during COVID, we switched to online. Coming back to online mode, again, having people here in this key, it does begin around this day. It's great to see you all here and thanks for participating. I think, like I said, Techceleration as an event, we've been running for the last 3 to 4 years. Maybe the goal is to give back to the community what the team works. The focus has been mainly on technology topics, engineering topics. But about once in 4 to 5 events, we try to put in product-based topic and discussion as well. Now in the over the group, and thanks to the opportunity, we had pretty good session. Thanks to Badri, I think this is a really good session. Wonderful. It was product engineering is very close to my heart. Even though I connected with Narika, shared a bit about it, so we can talk more about it in our website as well. We can talk about it. Though we are more engineering focused on primary value add is the product, right? So, and it's quite a challenging task when we build products for other markets, which are like North America, Japan, from here, because we don't get that time with the customers directly, with a lot of stakeholders. So, something like product is a topic that's close to my heart. How do we do this? Like our efforts have been there to make progress on things like surveys where we can do third parties. Now we have also invested in tools like Google where we can run surveys for people here in Indian market. So great communication once again. Thanks for sharing. And thanks to Elon for sharing on the LLM. So if we talk about virtual assistant, which is like an in-car assistant, similar to Alexa or Google Home, we started building this about 6 years ago. Right? LLMs were not big days at the time. I think we probably use small language models, medium language models, and yeah. So the team has a lot of expertise in building machine learning based products. And now when you say AI, it's kind of exactly getting correlated with AI, but whether it's language models or computer vision, the team has a lot of experience in building and launching these in the markets. Again, amazing questions from everybody, like how do we operationalize this, how do we measure like success in the market, things like that. So each and every product goes through this life cycle. I have so many intricacies when it comes to that, but we look at it's not just about backlog and the feature that the user wants, right? The consideration is much more complex because once you put it in the market, based on your operational, expense and how much you spend in monitoring this, how much you spend in marketing this, and implementation, is there a good return of investment? So that gets very big, and that's what makes this a lot more complex and of course a lot more interesting and it's a lot more complex, right? So especially in the automotive scenario where the vehicle itself cannot change. It's not like your smartphone where you can keep changing the hardware. So the hardware goes into fixed specs. It stays there for a few years. So it makes it a lot more interesting and challenging to design for something that's going to stay on the road for the next 10 years from hardware. So yeah, great session. Thanks a lot from all of you coming here and participating. I think it's good that we didn't have a CSK running match yesterday. So we're able to make it this time. Thanks for organizing the team led by Anita and all of them. A lot of effort to make this happen for you guys to be here. Hopefully we'll have this more frequently. It's our wish and we forward to see you all again. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for explaining to us. And how do we do this?
So for every product, feedback is important. same as for us, feedback are important. And if you need the PPTs, kindly give me the feedback so that we can send it to your email ID. We collect email ID in this feedback. That's how we can easily send the PPTs to you.